I call Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I take a call on behalf of New Zealand First in this debate, and again today we've witnessed another example of a clueless government with basically that has run out of ideas. The perler that we've had today is the latest imposition of fringe benefit tax on car parks for companies in Auckland and Wellington to raise something like $18 million in revenue. And, Mr. Chair, you really have to be scraping the barrel when this government, which says it's going to try and help business, to try and help grow the economy, to try and increase New Zealand's business environment, you have to be really scraping the barrel to come out with things like, let's start charging them fringe benefit tax to park their cars as well. It sort of follows on other miserable taxes like the taxing of schoolboys and schoolgirls delivering their newspapers last year, and all sorts of other miserable little taxes around the edges that really are showing that they've run out of ideas and run out of substantive ideas to get this economy really moving again. And it's very interesting that I've been one of the members of Parliament sitting on the manufacturing inquiry over the last 6 weeks that's been held in Wellington, Auckland, Christchurch, and on Monday was in Dunedin, and to hear from some very significant manufacturers and exporters in this country, iconic names like Hamilton Jet, and we all know Hamilton Jet, you know, one of the greatest manufacturing companies that's come out of New Zealand, to be saying how much they are really struggling and finding it difficult to compete in world markets with the New Zealand dollar where it is today, up around 83, 84, 85 cents, and how it is so difficult, and how this government is really not coming up with any ideas. And not only not coming up with any ideas, but not prepared to listen to the ideas that are being suggested by some of these very reputable companies. Ideas, yeah, well, thank you, Jerry. I'll give you one. Ideas such as in the United States, where in the United States they were seeing a huge vacuum of companies disappearing off to China to manufacture in China, and in the United States. They've brought in a 40% write-down on new technology and equipment in the first year, and as a result of bringing in that new policy in the United States, they've seen a regeneration of productive US companies who actually are now finding that they're more competitive with their plants in the United States as a result of having those write-downs on new technology and equipment, and are actually gearing up and retooling in the United States and are moving their production back onshore. So there's one. There's one. And isn't it interesting that when you have a proper inquiry, and when you go out, when you don't stay up on the 9th floor or the 8th floor or the 7th floor of the beehive and ignore the country, but when you actually go out and listen to the companies and the manufacturers, and you sit down and listen to some of their suggestions, it is quite amazing. And when you also hear that manufacturing provides stable, long-term, good employment with good wages, reliable wages that a family can take home and bank and go to their bank manager and get a mortgage and have a house and all that. Many of these jobs that are being lost in manufacturing are turning into precarious jobs such as, you know, part-time jobs that are not giving any reliability. And time again we've heard of downscaling, downsizing of companies in New Zealand, retrenching, laying off staff, and those very staff who supposedly don't go on to a benefit, as we heard, if they've already got one partner working, they're not counted as going on to a benefit, so they don't appear in the statistics, but often they go to then precarious part-time, semi-part-time work, which then doesn't bring in sufficient income to the family that they've been used to. It is right, and I'm sorry, Mr. Brownlee, but we've heard that from many sources. And if you hear it from some manufacturers in Auckland, and you hear it from manufacturers in Dunedin, who are 1,500 kilometres apart, who have no connection between the two of them, there's obviously something going on there. And it is going to be interesting that when the results of this manufacturing inquiry come out, It will point a direction for New Zealand that we can uphold. And if the government is smart, it would actually embrace the findings of that inquiry, and it would say, yes, we can learn from this, and we should not be that arrogant as a country that we cannot listen to good ideas.
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Chairman, I'll be happy to respond to some of the issues raised by members